What up, what up, what up? It's the Kokomo Press Podcast, and I'm your host, Jordan Granger, and I'm back with kind of a return to form. Today, we only have one guest. It's just me and Sean D, a.k.a. Sean D is funny on everything. Go check him out. But before you do that, check him out here around the podcast because we talked about so much. He helped us do our holiday special. If you check that out, he wrote Splooge, which was hilarious. He starred in a couple of skits. He was great, always funny. One of the most tenured guests on the show, but he's also a comedian, and we decided to talk about the state of comedy, including the Katt Williams crazy interview on Club Shay Shay. We talked about Dave Chappelle's new stand-up. We talked about Shane Gillis, Nick Mullen, Whitney Cummings. We talked about Tony Hinchcliffe. We talked about so much comedy because two stand-up comedians in a room, what are you going to talk about? But, you know, we also got into some of the topical stuff, including the new Raising Cane's locally. And, of course, we had to talk about that one basketball player outside of Lawrence, I think it's Lawrenceburg, Indiana. It doesn't matter. Check it out. He's got a crazy name. Neither one of us can say it. Anyway, me and Sean D had a great time. Check him out. Sean D is funny on everything. But before you do that, check out this very special new episode of the Kokomo Press Podcast, baby. Woo!
Warning, this video contains adult content not suitable for children.
What's up? It's Kokomo Press Podcast. I'm Jordan Granger, and this week we're a little light on the panel. I'm not going to lie to you. But we do have a fantastic guest, and he's returning, and he's been on so many times, ladies and gentlemen. Sean Dalrymple.
Hey guys, it's Sean D back at you.
There he is. Look at the sound effects on there. Sean D is in the house. It's just Sean and I today. We're gonna talk about some stuff because we're coming off of a great holiday special that we both worked really hard on. You killed it. You wrote the best script. Like, it was the best.
Thank you.
It was absolutely the best skit that we had, and then ended up being really fun. I know you didn't expect there to be some cartoon monster. I thought you probably thought practical effects, but
yeah. But you know, I mean, we talked about it. Maddie was like, "Well, what do you think about a cartoon?" And I was absolutely on board. I mean, I love animation. I mean, I grew up watching Simpsons and then Family Guy.
Yeah.
And big Rick and Morty guy. I love animation. I think you can do things with animation that you can't do. Like, I mean, I could have tried to make a giant cum monster.
Well, that's what we were like. We were sitting there thinking, and we were like, how do we do this without making it look like the spaghetti monster? Because, like, we just made that, you know, from Fettuccine Alfredo. If you haven't checked that out, check out Fettuccine Alfredo. If you haven't checked out Splooge, the Ghosts of X's Past, secretly called Ghosts of Bitches Past, but we didn't want to, like, scare people away.
Splooge McDuck.
Splooge McDuck. But we were talking about doing, like, because you were like, this is called Ghosts of Bitches Past, and I'm like, I don't want to use bitch because then, like, people won't watch it just because it says bitch in it. And
right.
Also, if it did get monetized, I'm like, you know, whatever. So I'm like, let's do Ghost of X's Past, and then we were talking about Scrooge, and I was like, Splooge. I'm like, that's, you know, nobody knows what that means. Like, they do, but they don't. You know what I mean? It's not
right.
Who it is. But yeah, we put that skit out. So fucking funny. You also killed it in Too Many Santas, which was really great. That was a really good skit.
I was upset with my acting performance in that one. I didn't have that script down as well as I did the other one. I mean, I wrote the other one, so yeah. I knew every line in it.
Yeah, it's a little different feeling.
Right. But, you know, I think it was all together. Every video was fantastic. Every video was good. We all work really hard on that, and we're glad that you guys liked it. Got a lot of good feedback from it.
Yeah.
And my buddy that actually writes for a TV show, shout out Jamarcus Turner.
Jamarcus.
He said I did the damn thing, and so I was like, yeah, so you're gonna get me a job writing for Bob Hart Abishola with you? Because
like, help me out, bro. Throw a dog a bone, you know what I mean? Yeah, I completely understand that. I was really, when we set out to do the Christmas special, obviously a lot of things went wrong this year. We're gonna fix that for next year. I know that, but a lot of things went right, and I had to think about that. You know, I took a step back after about a week when we had released them all, and I was like, you know what, actually, this went really well. The cast was great. And then when I originally set out to do it, I had the idea for a couple skits, and then the great thing about the show was I had the idea for Elf on the Shelf, obviously from last year. Too Many Santas was an idea I was throwing around in my head, but I hadn't written yet. But when you and Michelle came in with ideas that were fucking great, I was like, hell yeah, like, let's do it. And I think that's after it's all said and done, it's like it became way more collaborative because I was honestly really afraid in the beginning that like I was gonna have to do all the writing.
Well, like you said during the Not So Live special, I mean, there's a lot of talent here in Kokomo, and we're all looking for ways to show everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we can do things. And it was great. It was great. I felt, you know, I'm not from here. I didn't grow up here, so I don't have a lot of, like, friends here in Kokomo. I mostly go to work, stay to myself, do my comedy.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I left here that night with my heart full. I will tell you that.
Good. Probably after watching the whole. I mean, Maddie cut that together.
Oh, it was great.
Phenomenal.
Maddie is such a genius, and I can't wait to be on the Outhouse Super Show. That's going to be fantastic as well.
Yeah, there's so many. I say it all the time, and it's so funny because I was listening to the Taking It Too Far podcast the other day because they had Messy Gravis on, who's part of the holiday special with them and everything. And he goes, "I'm going to say it. Jordan always says it, but I'll say it too. There's just so many talented people in Kokomo." And I'm like, if that's what I'm known for saying, yeah, good, because I want to keep saying it, because the truth of the matter is there are so many talented people in Kokomo. And like I was talking to, we did our first ever real like Kokomo Press meeting. We're gonna start doing weekly meetings between the four of us so that we want to put more content out. That's like the 2024 is the year of content. Like more 2024. That's all I can think of in my head. Is more 2024, because we haven't done a whole ton of like meeting and getting together. It's kind of like, here's an idea, let's see if we can do it, and we try to get it done. Now it's like, let's meet together weekly, let's come up with ideas. And I was talking to the four of them, and I was like, you know, we really have 8 members. Like, we really do. Like, if you look at how we do things, we have the 4 of us who do like the majority of the page stuff. It's like, but when it comes down to things, you, Maddie, Michelle, and Scrap, you 4 are all almost like, you guys do so much with us that when we're thinking about like, who can we, you guys are always like on the tip of our tongue, because you guys are so talented, very talented people in so many different ways. I mean, like, really, it's crazy. Like, I didn't even know that you sang, and then you're like, hey, I can sing, and then you sang the really pretty part of the 12 Days of Christmas, which killed it. That was our our most
choir kid. Most of us are choir kids.
Yeah. Music, yeah, choir. It's something. I mean, even Scrap that like raps. Michelle, obviously, like, so talented. Like, we've got a great group of people internally with the 4 of us, but then we have a great like group even like on the outer rim of like what we're doing. And it's like, if we ever decided to like expand, you 4 would be the first ones that were like, come in and do this.
I think we all kind of know that, and appreciate that, and more than like wanting to be like in the group, it's we all like you guys. I mean, I only speak for myself, but I see in the actions of them, we all love you guys. You guys you're great. You're very easy to collaborate with, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
All right, let's stop sucking each other's dicks a little bit. We've been sucking.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I know. It's a lot of fun. It's a whole lot of fun. But yeah, so moving forward, like, we did a great thing with the Christmas thing, and then I was excited to hear that you're back on stage now.
Yeah, I'm doing comedy again.
I'm gonna throw this guy on there.
I'm super excited for it. I started last week. I started went to Crackers with Brian
and Andy,
and my road dog Dougie,
who was our host of the last comedy show we did. So
right, Dougie was a host. He hosts a lot at Crackers. Yeah. He actually did New Year's weekend, Friday, Saturdays, and Sunday.
Sheesh.
Great comedian. Great man. He's kind of my mentor. I love the guy. Shout out to you again, Dougie Fresh.
Dougie Fresh, yeah. And the great thing about Dougie Fresh is he's like all the guys he hangs out with in comedy are like super young guys, and he's like the hip older man that's like, you know, I got you guys. You know what I mean?
The best part is when he talks to us about weed. He's like, I can't do that stuff you guys do. Back in my day, it was nothing. Now I do. Now I take one hit and I'm in a coma.
You know, when I get to the age where he's retired, he always talks about that in his comedy. Like, I'm retired, which is great, because like I feel like that affords him like a lot more opportunity to go and pursue his dreams now, which is amazing. He's great. Check out his comedy. Doug Arnold is his name. Dougie Fresh is what he's called in the streets. But watching him host the last show, and then knowing how much he's been doing at Crackers, and how much you guys are road dogging it together, is what you guys like to call it. But at the same time, like, he's the type of guy that he really just he wants to do comedy all the time. And I think that's important for us young guys who maybe, we're not retired. We have to work our day job. We have to do our things that we have to do. But it's nice to have somebody like that to like wrangle people in, to be like, hey guys, let's go do comedy. Come on. It's Thursday. Crackers. Let's do open mic. And I think it's a good thing to have like somebody like that on your side.
Oh, definitely. And to me, it's like the camaraderie, because the comedy scene is very competitive. And so some people aren't very nice because it's competitive. But Dougie, he is always, any joke I have, I send it to 3 people. I send it to you, I send it to Brian, I send it to Dougie.
Yeah. I
listen to the feedback you give me, and I do, my best to fix it and make it an even better joke. And I feel like that's what you need. That's what I get with Dougie. And then when we go like Thursday with Brian, we talk comedy and how much we all love comedy and why we love comedy. I mean, everybody that it's into doing comedy started by just loving comedy.
Yeah. Or loving to laugh.
Yeah,
loving to make your friends laugh. So it's always good when you get around other people that have that same mindset in general, just because like, you're not going to offend anybody in the group. Like typically, I know it's hard really to say that around around every comic, but like my thing has always been like, one of my favorite comedians of all time is Patrice O'Neal. And Patrice O'Neal, he has that quote where he's like, if you're trying to be funny, then you're trying to be funny. If you're not, then you're not. But like, if you're a funny person trying to be funny, the attempt is just as much as if it's like a success, because that's how you come up with a good joke.
Right.
Is you make an attempt. And I mean, I'm not saying you should say whatever's on your mind that's horrible, some people do, but at the same time, like if somebody's trying to make a joke. So let's talk about something that you and this would both hit us a little bit. I don't watch the Golden Globes. Unless Ricky Gervais is hosting it, don't ask me to watch the Golden Globes. But, Joe Coy, who's a huge comedian, Filipino American, one of the biggest, probably the biggest Filipino American, ever. And then probably the biggest Filipino celebrity I could think of outside of like Manny Pacquiao. He's not punching nobody. But he hosted the Golden Globes, and he did a couple of jokes, and people are like, yeah, especially the Taylor Swift ones. And at the end of the day, to me, I'm like listening to the joke, and I'm like, that's a solid. It's not like the best joke in the world, but it's a solid joke. Do you know the joke I'm talking about?
No, I actually didn't watch it at all, but I knew he was on it, but I haven't seen it on TikTok. My algorithm's real weird, guys.
It's just girls half naked, like pause. Have you seen those ones?
I've seen some of those, but mine's mostly like fuck them kids.
Fuck them kids jokes. And of course, Kill Tony. I know you
Kill Tony and Shane Gillis. There's a lot of Shane Gillis, a lot of Joe Rogan.
Comedy. Bert, I know you're a huge fan of Bert.
I'm a big Bert fan, of course, yeah.
Yeah, but I know for us, when it comes to the Joe Coy thing, his joke was something along the lines of, hey guys, I know you're tuning in to the Golden Globes. It's directly after an NFL game, but don't worry, we're going to cut less to Taylor Swift than they do. So, because she was in the audience and she was up for an award. It's a harmless joke. It was making fun of the NFL in general about them cutting her ratings, trying to get ratings. And that was his joke. And people who are Swifties went like, insane, as they do, because they're like, oh, wow, how dare you make a joke? It's not her fault. And I was like, I don't think you listened to the joke. The joke was, we are not going to cut to her for ratings like they cut to her for ratings. It's not even on her. The joke's on the NFL a crew that's actually.
And even if it was, it's just a harmless joke.
Exactly.
And I think, I wanted to clarify something with everybody. I know I say that a lot. It was just a joke. What I mean by that is not like I'm intentionally coming out to offend you, but if you happen to get just slightly offended, know that I didn't mean it in a mean-spirited way.
Absolutely. And even then, like I don't mind if somebody hits me up and says, "Hey man, I don't like that joke." I'm like, "Okay, cool," and then I'll just ignore them forever. I'm just kidding. No, like to me, that's for me the type of comedy that I like. And if you've watched me, if anybody who's on this podcast has watched me, they know for a fact the type of comedy I do, because it's always horrible, and a lot of times it's a plane crash, because I like horrible things. I like to make the worst joke I can. I like to figure out something that's like, ooh, I almost like that. Like I almost like that's why I like an abortion joke, because I almost want to see somebody go, ooh, before I want to see them do anything else.
Right. No, I agree with that. I like those reactions just as much. Like you can grunt and I'm going to be okay with it. But it brings to mind like when me and you in my opinion, started becoming more than just dudes that went to the same open mic. We became friends was when you talked to me about Bob Saget's Aristocrat show.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this guy gets me.
Yeah. it's and people that don't know the Aristocrats jokes, go ahead and check it out. You're gonna completely judge us once you check it out. But the whole point of the joke is to say the worst fucking thing you could ever say. And Bob Saget's one of the guys that was like huge into that joke. Gilbert Godfrey probably. I mean, I think people like cite him as being the worst.
You know, they actually have like a movie of different comedians doing that joke.
Yeah, I watched it. I think Maddie and I talked about it. Maddie actually, the funny thing is, out of all the people in the world, Maddie got me into the Aristocrat joke because he was like, have you heard of it? And I'm like, he's like, you like comedy? And I'm like, yeah, I like comedy, but like, it's such a deep thing, and to know that that's like a running thing in the comedian world where they're like, it's a joke for comics. It's a horrible joke for comics.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the Joe Coy thing, I'm just so happy that he got to do it. For him, it was like a big deal to like be the first guy in his family to do something that big.
Right. And I'm also glad he didn't get hit.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you? Let's segue into that. Did you watch the new Chappelle?
Of course, I watched.
And he talked about about Chris getting hit, talking about himself
getting hit. Yeah. I like the new Chappelle special. I will say, like, of the
don't say Will. You scared me. Will say Will slap. No,
of the specials that came out this year, it's not even in my top 5, and I hate to say that because Chappelle is like, I mean, I was 18 years old when Chappelle show came out, and it kind of changed my life. Like, oh my gosh, these weird thoughts that I have in my head, other people think they're funny. I don't need to be in a mental institution.
Alone. I'm not alone in the world. Yeah, I think you're a little bit older than I am. I don't know how, a couple years.
I'm 38.
You're 38. I'm 30. I'll be 30. I just turned 36. That's what it was. But like, I was in high school when Chappelle show came out. So like, I just remember when it came out, everybody the next like week we were all quoting Clayton Bigsby because it was like the first episode.
Yeah, Clayton Bigsby.
You know, and then so you got black kids walking around going, you know, saying the worst things possible because like honestly, it's hard to even quote that show without being like, hey, you gotta know or I'm fucked. I'm fucked if you don't know this show because there's some horrible things that they say in that fucking show.
My fiance didn't understand why I love that show so much, and then everybody has a skit from that show that they like that they want to show somebody. You know, this is why I love the show. For me, it's Knee High Park when Snoop Dogg's a puppet and shows his penis.
I think for me, my favorite. I mean, obviously the Bigsby one was hilarious. The ones with the crackhead. What the fuck is it? Tyrone? Oh my god, there's some funny ones. And then everybody knows like obviously everybody knows like
the Lil Jon ones and Rick James.
Yeah. What? Like that's so funny, dude. And then obviously Prince. That was, I mean, what is it? Bathe yourselves in the Lake
Minnetonka.
But my favorite ever is always going to be Player Haters Ball. I love
that's a good one too.
I think my kids out there acting wild. I don't know. You know, that's the thing about doing a late night podcast is you got kids running around the house making noises. They think they're a part of the damn show. What did you say, son? Yeah. 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 We'll smoke a blunt later. Oh no. What? We're not doing that. So go play. Love you. I was trying to make a joke and then he actually came in. You know what I mean? He actually heard me. That's what I didn't want. No, I got my middle boy, little boy. He's just turned 5 today. His technical.
Wow. Well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Jackson. Now get out. I'm just kidding. So yeah, I watched the Dave Chappelle and I saw a lot of discourse online about, you know, oh, it's not really that funny, blah, blah, blah. He's got to do more trans jokes. But it's like, you know, I watched the whole thing at work. I mostly listened, obviously. And I was cracking up walking around like to the point where there's something about Dave Chappelle. Maybe it's his cadence, his voice, the type of writing that he does that like the dude could literally read the phone book and I'd probably laugh or two. because he'd say a word funny, and like I think he did a joke about like he did like an Asian accent and stuff. Like he just gets me. He just so funny. But I watched it. I think for me it would be top 5 for the year, and that's just because like I'm such a huge fan that like he could, like I said, he could read the yearbook or the phone book, and I'd be like, yes, Dave, you're so smart. And he always comes up with some crazy ass jokes. I mean, all of them are absolutely fantastic. But segue into from there to, we were talking about a little bit about award season. I have a very important, I want to talk about this. Let me move in a little bit. It's gonna look better that way. I don't know if you're a big fan of I Think You Should Leave. Probably
no. I told you I've never seen it.
You need to watch it.
I know.
Holy shit.
I keep hearing that I need to watch it, and it's totally my sense of humor. But the thing is like with what I do, like full-time job, 6 kids, comedy, I don't have as much time to watch TV, and so I prioritize the things that like to me, like I'm gonna watch Kill Tony every week. Yeah, that's 2 hours of my week right there.
That's a long ass show, dude.
I even watched I paid for the New Year's Eve and New Year's the day before New Year's Eve and New Year's Eve Kill Tony special. And me and Brian were texting back and forth. Did you get it? Did you see this part? Did you see this part? And we're actually going to go see Cam Patterson from Kill Tony at Summit City
David
Comedy
Lucas
Club.
is coming to like Fort Wayne too.
Yeah,
I know. I'm not a huge Dave Lucas fan.
Me either. So he's not really part of the podcast, the Kill Tony podcast anymore. Yeah. But Cam Patterson took his place, and he's like a really funny, like he's kind of a gangsta dude. Like he says gang violence. That's like his catchphrase is gang violence.
Yeah, some people it's here's your sign. Some people it's gang violence. You know,
right?
It depends on who you are. No, but I just wanted to shout out Tim Robinson. He is the writer for I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson. Obviously, he's from SNL. He did The Detroiters, and he won the Emmy for he read the Creative Arts Emmy for Best Actor in a Short Form Series for I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson. And that's a huge deal because I love it. I just want him to keep doing more. And if he's going to win an Emmy and win awards for Netflix and they're going to keep putting it out, that just means more comedy for us because he's just that funny to me. And he plays so many different characters on that show. Like, to me, it's like, it's very similar to a Chappelle show, like in the way that it's funny topical stuff, and it's like the same guy does most of the role. Like he does the main role in most of the skits, and then he does like, you know, I think Brian likes the Tim Heidecker. Is it?
Oh yeah.
He always has a recurring role as a character, and then there's other people that have done like small roles on there that come back, and they're like huge comics that did stuff on SNL or done stuff like Better Call Saul. That guy, I can't remember his name.
Oh yeah, I don't know his name.
He's an actor. He has a skit on there, and then he works with kind of everybody. So to me, that show winning an Emmy is like a huge fucking
It's great.
deal.
Yeah. I need to check it out. I really do.
Yeah, and then Shelby and I talk to each other exclusively, and I Think You Should Leave skit quotes. So like that, if we weren't watching the show, we would have nothing to talk about.
Nothing to talk about.
Yeah, it's crazy how much comedy like topics we can talk about this week without even getting into the weeds about stuff, because there's been so much going on out in the
please
world.
I watched this whole thing. I hope you are gonna pull up what I Think You Are. I watched the whole 2 hours and 39 minutes.
Katt Williams. I watched the whole thing too, right? Like, were you not entertained?
Last weekend I watched the whole thing, and silly me, I'm like, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, I'm just gonna start this.
No.
It's the weekend. I'm just gonna start it. You know, it was the best 2 hours and 39 minutes
Trying to
of my
sleep
life.
over there to laugh at your ass off your wife's like, shut the fuck up. Let me. Your woman's like, yeah, you quit. I gotta work.
She loves Katt Williams. That's her favorite comic.
Oh,
and so at first I got her because she absolutely despises podcasts in any form. I got her to watch, and she was watching, and eventually she's like, is this almost over? And I'm like, they're 30 minutes in. They have another 2 hours and 9 minutes left to go. She's like, I'm going to go to bed. Just catch me up.
Yeah, catch me up. Well, I think, I know that I hate making this generalization, but like in my experience, most women I know do not follow podcasts like that. Like unless they're like true crime and there's like a beginning, middle, end. They need like a full climactic story.
Right.
We just like people that talk and bring up topics. Like we're so much more scatterbrained. It's because a lot of the reason is because they like a narrative more than we do. It's just
and
like
more structure
and narrative. You're absolutely right. Yeah. And then like when they read books, like they'll read like a nonfiction, like a book that's about a story. There's the small town girl. She grew up in a lonely world. She took the midnight train. You know what I mean? It's the whole fucking plot of the Journey song. But like they love listening or watching shows like that, like The Girl on the Train, the girl with the dragon tattoo, the girl with the boyfriend who's mean to her, coming to Lifetime this summer. It's those types of stories. Whereas men, we were just like, we like facts. Like, give me the numbers on the next football game. Give me a story, a funny story told by you about your life that we can like pretend like it happened to us.
And it's, I think the brilliance of podcast, before when we were younger, you could only see like, especially if they weren't like a super well-known comic, you probably never heard of them. And you might see 5 minutes on David Letterman.
Yeah.
And be like, I really like that guy. And you never hear of him again. But now you can watch every week.
Yeah.
You can hang out with them.
Yeah. You basically have a relationship with these people now.
Yeah.
You feel like you do. It's like you like care about what they're talking about, their stories. I say, so you brought that up, and that's a really good question, like randomly talk about. So we both grew up on Comic Blend. We both grew up on Comic View. We both grew up on Comedy Central Presents. Was there ever a comedian that went on one of those shows that you saw and you're like, I fucking love this guy? And then like you had to wait till something else came out, or you had to, because it was like we had the internet, but it was like barely. Remember?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
It was like
we got a desktop computer with the AOL when I was a junior in high school.
Yeah, that was us.
So
You've got mail.
There was not a lot of, being the access that kids have to things now is nothing. And I try to explain to my kids, like, you don't understand.
You don't understand what we had to go through.
You can like this one thing and then know everything about it. We used to guess shit. Remember that?
Yeah. We used to have to guess. Or like that's how like a lot of the like tall tales, like the Marilyn Manson, upper, like we just made
the
up
girl
shit.
that stuck the hot dog.
Yeah.
Every town had it.
Yeah, it was like we had those. So we talked about this actually before on the podcast. It's like all these stories. That's all we had. So when the internet comes around, these kids grew up with like everything. Like my son is like, "Do you know this, Dad?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Okay, Google." Like I was like, when we were kids, we were like, we just didn't fucking know.
Yeah, you didn't know.
That was it. You called the one guy in town that you're like, this guy, John knows. Like he knows everything.
He probably knows.
John fucking knows.
His mom lets him watch porno.
Yeah, his dad slipped him one under the door. I know for me, the two comedians that I love, like really there's three that I loved that were like, they ended up being pretty big in the community and stuff, but like, and they did different stuff. But I just remember the first time I saw Stephen Lynch. We all were singing those songs and joking. I love Stephen Lynch. Greg Giraldo's stand-up, I loved everything that he did, and when he did things, and he got me really quickly. And then the third one, I mean, everybody liked Dane Cook because he like blew up. But the third one that I was like, me and my brother could not get enough of, and we wanted more of, and we didn't see him till later on, and it was in movies. Nick Swardson.
Oh yeah,
Nick Swardson was Comedy Central.
Yeah, great.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. And I actually, if I had to name a couple, I would say Nick Swardson.
Yeah,
because it was great. And then him on Reno 911, which I loved.
So funny.
He was great on that. And but that's all you saw was these little portions of these people. And for me, I would also say Greg Giraldo and Ralphie May was big. Like when Ralphie May was on Last Comic Standing, that was the first show where it's like you can see who these comedians really are.
Yeah. Any other random names you can think of? Like in my head, come up to me as like Dimitri Martin.
Nobody knew enough about Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah, Mitch Hedberg. Gary Goldman. Do you remember Gary Goldman?
Yeah.
I think he has a special now on like HBO or like Showtime or something. I just remember all these guys having. We would like I think it was like Friday nights. They'd have like a Comedy Central Presents every Friday night, and you'd look it up and be like, "Who is that? I don't know." And it didn't even matter because you're like, "I just want to watch comedy," so you'd put it on and you'd watch it. And
they're actually all on Paramount, and you can go back and watch them all.
I need to get Paramount.
Yeah, it's great.
I had to get it for Paw Patrol.
Right.
Your kids are a little older. Mine are like fucking Paw Patrol. There's a new movie, The Mighty Pups. Oh my god.
We have to have HBO so my kids can watch Euphoria.
Yeah, Euphoria. Oh, that's a little different. Have you seen that? It's pretty wild.
I watch it with them. I mean, I grew up in a household where my parents they would let you do whatever with media. Like, we watched horror movies when I was like 7 and 8, and my parents were always cool with it. So I try to be that kind of parent because I think it like made me who I am.
Yeah.
You know, when you limit your children, in my opinion, to like, you can only do this, you can only do that, I think it kind of limits them as people.
Yeah, absolutely. I have the same. Maybe like we're similar in age, so, and everything. So I think that we have very similar mindsets on that, because I feel the exact same way, and I always have. Where people are like, "Why do you let your son listen to that music?" And I'm like, if I make it into a thing, then it becomes more of a compulsion where he's like, I got to go find it. And it's like, it becomes more things are more hidden. Whereas I want things to be out in the open so I can explain. If you can't explain to your kids things, then they come up with their own explanations. And that's where shit gets insane.
Yeah.
And they can start to believe, like, I don't know, Marilyn Manson took out 2 of his ribs in order to suck his own dick. That's how kids know that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's how you get like these Gen Z people who are like, oh, well, it's this way. And you're like, well, actually, it's this way. Well, I said it was this way, so that's definitely how it is.
Yeah.
You have the internet. Why are you so dumb?
Yeah. You have the internet. Why are you an idiot? It's just because they have the tool doesn't mean they're going to use it. You know what I mean? It's like watching people, you know, on a work site, and you're like, literally, there's a jackhammer right there, and they're using a fucking, you know, that's what these kids are like. They just want to make it so difficult on themselves. It's like, yeah, that's too funny though.
That's when you get people that believe in flat Earth.
Yeah. Yeah. You get a lot of people that believe a lot of really stupid things on the internet right now. And I think it's a good thing that people have access to all the information, but I also think it's a bad thing that they don't choose to use the information. They choose to like watch a bunch of other stuff. So I don't know if you saw this. This was one of the funniest hold on, let me see. I think I picked the wrong one. This is one of the funniest stories from this last week. Did you see this one?
Yeah.
The Alabama man. So this week, an Alabama man was arrested after taking a dive into the fish aquarium at Bass Pro Shops in Lead, Alabama. The man intentionally drove a vehicle into a pool outside the store before taking off his clothes and jumping in the fish tank. They couldn't get the guy out. They kept having issues with it. But all the internet, and I can't show you guys this. I apologize. I have to just show show Sean. But everybody could not stop talking about his penis. Like he has the
he has micro.
It's like go on the internet, check it out for yourself. But this dude has an absolute penis. Like you couldn't see any of it, and like it's the smallest penis. Everybody kept saying, "Look at that dude's bussy. Like he's got a fucking bussy."
Is that a goldfish? Oh no, that's his penis.
Yeah, you're good. You can see the tiny. They got minnows in there with bigger dicks than him. It's so fucking funny. Everybody on the internet could not stop laughing. But yeah, this guy jumped it. Apparently, he had a schizophrenic break. So I'm not trying to laugh at the guy. He obviously was going through some shit, but everybody was
because I'm glad you said that, because I was about to make a comment about him holding onto the side like a 2-year-old.
he did kind of, it's like a glass side, so it's the worst. And they actually there was another picture, I don't have it to show to you, but they pulled him out and were arresting him, and he's still butt naked, and it's still not visible. It's not just like he couldn't even be like, and it was like, somebody had shared it and was like, this is a great photo to show your like wife or girlfriend and be like, see, shrinkage is real.
It is real. It is real. And it's a frozen tundra outside here in Kokomo.
Oh yeah, it's fucking freezing. We're waiting on the storm. Like, when does the storm come? I felt the wind last night.
It was brutal. Rumbling. The wind was brutal last night.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm waiting for it all to come crashing.
Well,
down.
It's been all week. It's been like, oh, it's gonna be so bad, and then it's just raining, and you're like, what?
People are buying bread. I know it was raining. It was like hail rain, like freezing rain, and then there was like snow, and I'm like, the snow finally stuck like last night, like we getting like real snow. But I know everybody's been buying like eggs and milk and all, you know, everything they do, like the bread and stuff. And I found this really cool video that can show people like the new way to, like, you know, crack your eggs if you need help. Woo! Yeah, it's not too bad, right? Oh, I switched
that
the wrong
is
angle.
The greatest thing I've ever seen.
One more time. I'm like, dang, we're gonna be stuck indoors.
Brian's house?
Yeah, it's Brian's house. I don't think his wife is black, but maybe. That's definitely a black ass. Have you ever seen one? Yeah, like the stories this week in general have been like, did you see the guy that jumped at the the judge.
Oh yeah, I've seen
That was crazy, right? Like I have a still shot of it right here. If you got this is the still shot. The judge was sentencing him, and I think what I read was it was over like a battery charge. Like he was in trouble for battery, and he was like mad that he got sentenced, and then he battered the.
That's a good way to prove your innocence.
Yeah, and then obviously the next day or 2 days after they released this photo of him, they put like pool noodles on his arms, and
He
like,
looks like he's about to go Super Saiyan.
looks like if Hannibal Lecter was not allowed to touch anything. I don't know. The whole time I kept looking at it like he looks like he's playing hockey in the worst possible way.
Pocket hockey.
Yeah, it's like not good, not a good look, bro. Sorry. And then, you know, they threw the book at him at that point. You know,
Right.
He set himself up for failure there. Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
You think he could read the book?
No, I don't. I mean, the funny thing is they threw the book at him and he threw it back at him. He just kept throwing it back, like, you know, kept trying to hit people with it. I don't know. That video though, the first time I watched it, I was dying laughing. I knew he was beating the shit out, or trying to beat the shit out of her, and I thought that was horrible. But like just that concept. Somebody, I think that when that photo was shared of the guy like with the face mask and with like the body, the whole thing, somebody was like, "This guy has the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever right now. Just run towards her one more time. Like, just do it again. Like, just keep doing it. Every time they bring him in the court, he's
The
just
callback of all callbacks.
like, this guy has the ability to do the funniest thing." But he's in like a suit and stuff in the first one. The second one, he's in shackles in a prison. You know. I'm just saying, free my guy. You know, he didn't do nothing.
Unchained Django.
Yeah, unchain him. Django Unchained. Oh God, yeah. I mean, between that and this one's one we can't really talk about, but we can bring it up. This one popped everywhere online, but you and I can't even talk about it.
I've seen that. I've seen that. I've seen that guy. I know a couple myself.
Yeah. The funny thing was, he's actually from Lawrenceburg, Indiana.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean the Berg. He's from the Berg, and then they were talking about he plays basketball too, and I think it was RG3, Robert Griffin III. He posted, he was like, "That can ball too," like, and I'm like, oh God. But yeah, they went viral for the weirdest last name I've ever seen in my life. And I'm not going to bring it up. If you don't know, you don't. If you don't know, now you know, sucker. Because like we can't even say the word.
You think he takes his ID to the barbecue? He's like,
They're
"Can I get in?"
Yeah, they're like, well, I do know. Well, the funniest thing in the world happened while I was sleeping. So this news story broke about this guy. It popped up on Twitter. I just like screenshot it. I sent it to our group chat for the Kokomo Press.
Okay.
And I sent it to like me, Brian. It was a group chat, me, Brian, Courtney, and Jordan Bell, Poxy Jones. And he, you know, we were all laughing at it. And then I went to sleep. And I guess he works thirds, Bell does. And at some point in the night, he posted it on our Kokomo Press page. But then he made the worst caption you could possibly make with it. Guess what it was?
Well, I didn't see this.
I don't know many black people, but I do. And I'm like, that makes it worse. That makes it more racist. Because you're like, I don't know black people, but I know.
Yeah.
Like, that's horrible.
And when they think Kokomo Press,
Yes.
they're like, 3 white people weren't. It was definitely a white person.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they thought it was like me or Brian. And so apparently it started going south quick. And Bell, like somebody, I think the one that broke the straw that broke the camel's back was somebody shared the post that he made, a black man, and it was like, this is how you get punched in the fucking face. So then Jordan deleted it, and then he had to message a few people. Like he messaged a couple people that were like upset and was like, "Hey, I posted this. Remember, I'm black. I know you think it was probably them." He actually probably saved us a fucking heart attack, because I'd have woke up that morning to like, we would have lost half of our followers. They would have thought I was racist. I probably would have got fired. You know what I mean? I can never make a joke again in this whole town.
You know, that's why I don't understand why gender reveals are so popular right now.
Yeah.
You're going to get fired for it later.
Yeah. If you're going to give up, you're going to tell people what your gender is, your gender, you shouldn't even know. We're such a progressive society now. Like, we really are. Like, you can be whatever gender. People are choosing new races. You know what I mean? And then I actually saw this, and I truly, I'm not trying to make fun of this at all. Like, don't come at me for that. I'm just confused if this is even allowed. There's a Mar Galar, I can't even say their name, makes history as Spain's first parliamentarian with Down syndrome. So they have somebody with Down syndrome Now, I don't know a lot about Down syndrome, but what I do know, I would say that maybe this, I don't know if they're allowed to do that. I don't know. Are we allowed to do this?
I mean, I would say,
yeah.
It's like I really have to think of this because I don't want people to think I'm trying to like make a joke here. I know I'm like the guy that makes it the little quips, but I'm down with it. I'm sorry.
Are you down with it?
I'm sorry, everyone.
Come on, I'm down with the syndrome. Come on, I'm down with the. No, it's awesome. I think it's great.
It is great.
I'm so Marcia.
It's great.
Mar,
it's fantastic.
I'm so proud.
I love it.
I'm not proud's a weird word, but like that's exciting that we've moved to the point where people don't see. She said one of the things she said in the article was like she wants to be seen as a person and not a disability, which is important.
Yeah,
but then
great.
when they put an article like that out, then I start asking questions because they like, hey, if you put out an article celebrating that you're the first one to ever do it with Down syndrome, and then you're like, I don't want people to notice my disability, then you probably shouldn't tell people you're the first one to ever do it. Like, who cares?
Right.
Don't even talk about it. And people vote, so obviously she's voted in. They must have thought that like this, if John Fetterman can do it, she can do it.
Yeah, but you know how the media is being, you know, so maybe she didn't want it to come out as that. Maybe she wanted it to come out as, oh, look at this young woman who's made parliament. But
yeah, it's exciting. I just think the problem is they kept asking her to vote up or down, and she kept voting downs every time. Totally downs. They're like, we got to do something. This was your bill. Why are you voting downs, no matter what? No, I was like, this is such an interesting thing to have happen, especially when if you're a huge Shane Gillis fan, you already know. I make them at night. I'm making them at night.
I'm part of a Shane Gillis Facebook group.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all just
yes, it's grilled cheese memes. And if you haven't watched Shane Gillis' specials, Beautiful Dogs, go out and watch Shane Gillis' special. And if you don't, like I don't have Netflix, whatever, go watch his other one on Netflix.
YouTube.
Yeah,
He's got one on YouTube.
YouTube, that's the one.
Yeah.
YouTube. What's that one called? I can't remember the name of that one, but it's really funny as well.
And me and Brian also both watched this week's Sam Talent's special on YouTube.
I checked it out.
Fantastic.
I checked it out.
You're not a Sam Talent guy, huh?
I tried so hard, dude. I'm gonna try to. I told Brian I'm gonna try to rewatch it at a different day when I'm in.
You know, it was actually at Go Bananas in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's not that I thought it was. His style is different than what I like. Like he has a really weird style. He's very crowd oriented. I felt like there was a lot of crowd stuff. Yeah. And maybe it's like the weird thing was like when you saw Dan Alton, you were on that show for Dan Alton, and I love Dan Alton, and his show is very crowd based.
Yeah.
But you could tell he was saying things to the crowd to get into a bit. So he would say like, "Oh, you're laughing, ma'am. I noticed the you," and then he would get into his thing. And I think that's important. But that Sam guy, like, it's not that I didn't. It's not that I didn't like the special. I was just like, I wasn't getting it. Did you watch Nick Mullen? Nick Mullen's new special?
I haven't.
Yeah.
I know that you're a fan of him. I had never heard of him before that.
No?
So I need to check it out. But like I said, you know,
Come Town is my favorite podcast of all time, and it always will be. And I'm so sad it's gone because Stavros Halkias was on that. Adam Freeland. Their new show's called the Adam Freeland Show. That's what they do. That's what they dropped it on. But Come Town was their original podcast, and yeah, I said that Come Town was the name of their podcast, and they actually had the largest comedian podcast on Patreon for the longest time. Like they were making.
That's awesome.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like it was crazy. But the whole point of that, like he even references it in his, I think it's called The Year of the Dragon is the name of his special. It's on Netflix. Or not Netflix. It's on YouTube and it's free. You can check it out.
I've seen Stavros special on Netflix, which I liked. I didn't think it was like the best of the year, but it was.
He's not bad. He's not bad, but I honestly am not a huge fan of him as a stand-up. And on the podcast, he was more of the laugher. And my favorite thing about that Stavros did on the podcast, he would write songs and like change the word to like horrible things. So he would be like, instead of doing like just a small town girl, he'd be like, I got a small penis, it's real small and girls think it's weird. Like he would do stuff like that. It was like stupid things. And then him and Nick would like bully Adam the whole time. And he's like a little Jew guy, so they always bully. But anyway, besides that, I love Come Town. Nick Mullen to me, I think, is one of the funniest people that's ever existed. And I'm not just saying that. Think of like him and Shane did a podcast for a while together, and then like they've done multiple shows. He's one of those guys from New York that was in the same circles with Shane, and then he also did stuff with like he did a show with Tim Dillon and the Puerto Rican rattlesnake, fucking
I know what you're talking about.
Louis
Yeah.
Jago. They did a show together called like the Three Bastards or something like that. I don't remember what the fuck it's called, but a Bastard Radio or something like that. I don't know if that's what it was called, but they were really funny and really good. But Nick Mullen to me, when he is unhinged, he's the funniest. Like you can't compete with him. He's so quick, and I think that's one of those. I've always that's what I strive to be as a comedian more than anything is the quickest person to the joke. And I think that's kind of like growing up in middle school and shit. That was like what.
Yeah, you had to be the quickest.
You had to be.
Only the quickest person to it was gonna get the laugh in school, and if you didn't, it kind of like. I mean, we went to school in the era of anything you did. If somebody was not approving, it was the gayest thing ever.
Yeah, and like that's why it's like you and me and Jordan and Brian and people like us in our age, we all grew up being called gay and the other F word with more letters and being called an R tall. You know, all the words that, you know, they're like, you don't say that now. Hillary Duff said don't say that. Okay, don't say that. And like we all know like we're not supposed to say them, but like if you've been called that your whole life, it's like at some point you're like, I should be able to say it.
Yeah.
I should be able to say it.
Our generation grew up on Eminem and Chappelle show, and they're like, you can't say these things anymore.
You can say nothing.
My heroes say those words, so guess what?
Yeah.
Gonna say.
Yeah. If I want to say it. Well, that's my argument too. When people are like, oh, you're not allowed to say that word. I can say anything I want. Now, whatever happens to me afterwards,
yeah.
You know, that's anybody's ballgame.
Consequences I gotta live with.
Yeah. But I'll say whatever the fuck I want at any time. You know what I mean? And you don't have to like come up and be like, the weirdest thing is like when you say I'll say whatever the fuck I want, people are like, well, say this word, and you're like, I just said I'll say whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, right.
I didn't say I'm going to say what the one thing that I shouldn't say to you. Like, you know what I mean? It's like that with people. And I put my foot in my mouth on the podcast constantly.
My full opinion on this is, you know, the kid from Lawrenceburg, that's the word I won't say.
Yeah.
The other words, I'll say them.
Yeah.
Like if I think that it works in a context of a joke that I'm writing, then I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm not doing it to specifically be mean-spirited. I'm doing it because, I mean, you want to change people that were raised a certain way into fitting in a box you want. Doesn't that make you the bad guy?
Yeah. It's kind of it's the antithesis of what they claim to believe. And that's always been my argument with the hypocrites in general, whether it's in church or whether it's people who worship, you know, political ideology or people who worship at the PC political. I mean, people will worship PC stuff. They just do. They're like, well, you know, you can't say that, or we need to make space for this person, or we need to do that. And I'm like, you know, obviously in a perfect world, everybody would be able to talk the same amount, do the same amount of things, have the same amount of money. We aren't ever going to live in that world. A utopia doesn't exist. People are pieces of shit as much as you want to think we're perfect little beings. And guess what? Usually the person that's crying the most about something, they're the ones who secretly are probably the worst versions.
Right, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, I think something just came out recently. I don't think I have the story. It's a horrible story, but there was a prominent LGBT activist, I think out of New York, that was like huge into like, you know, children, blah, 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 story time hour, all that whole fucking thing. And then it came out that the dude like had like CP on his computer and a bunch of other stuff. And it's like, that's where I'm like, this is why I don't trust anybody who's like, I'm the one. Do you ever, hold on, here's random. This was a really good example. You ever heard of a Jimmy Savile?
No.
I'm happy you haven't heard of it. It's a horrible story, but he's a guy out of the UK. He worked for the BBC, you know, British Broadcasting Company.
Oh,
and
I thought you meant a different.
the BBC. I know I have to say that, and you know, I wasn't looking at your internet history. I swear, I wasn't on your Pornhub history. But this guy named Jimmy Savile, and he was like, he had a show on the BBC. He was like, the best way to describe him was he was like Carson Daly for their like, they had a show called like Pop Hits.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And his name is Jimmy Savile. He looked insane, like an insane person. If you saw him in any other context, you'd be like, ugh. But he was like their top heats of pops, the top of the pops. That's what it's called, Top of the Pops. That was the name of the show. And then he had a show called Jimmy'll Fix It. Jimmy'll Fix It on TV, where little kids would write in like, I really wish that I, you know, could meet, you know, this actor, or I wish that I had 1,000, you know, dolls, and he would like take like almost like make a wish, and like give a kid a wish. And then there was a lot of stuff that happened over years, blah blah blah. This dude eventually dies, and then like within like 3 years they find out that he was one of the most prolific molesters in the history of like, and it's like this guy was a guy that they were like, he's good for kids, and then meanwhile he's like working in a hospital wing, like touching kids that are sick and stuff. It was like a very bizarre thing, and it's always the people that are like, look, I help kids, I'm the perfect
I'm not
person.
surprised by that. Michael Jackson had a theme park at his house.
Who was the comedian that had that joke where it was like, when you come to my house, like, when people say that Michael Jackson, molested kids, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense because
It's Katt Williams.
Is it Katt Williams? Yeah, at my house I have
stuff bitches like.
Yeah, bitches like, and he's got stuff kids like. Yeah, that's a fucking hilarious joke. He's one of the funniest, dude. Katt Williams, dude.
He's great, and I want to thank him for like doing what he did. It was. A lot of things needed to be said, and I think that a lot of people don't understand that the funniest person isn't always going to be the first person to make it or even make it at all.
Yeah,
it's the world. If you don't know, the world's a lot about who you know and who you blow.
Yeah. It's a fact, and I mean, according to him, I was going to say Epstein, but that's what I'm talking about.
How do you think I'm on this podcast?
Yeah, exactly. All right, got a little bit of Weinstein. Remember, he asked him. He said, if you let me suck you," and that's why I showed up, and there was 2 other brothers there, and he's like, "What did you do to get this job?" That was the funniest shit ever. I do have a small clip I actually want to show you, just because it'll be fun, and I don't even know why I have it on here, but I'm like, let's go ahead and I'm gonna put this up. And it is actually from Nick Mullen special.
And you get COVID, maybe it means it doesn't work, right? But whatever, I'm done. And she was quick to point that out.
So he's talking about COVID here.
The vaccine and you get COVID, maybe it means it doesn't work, right? I'm stupid. And she was quick to point that out. She said, well, you just don't understand how vaccines work because they won't prevent an accident, but if you get it, because they're kind of like a seatbelt. They won't prevent an accident, but if you get
it's gonna keep doing this.
To get in one, you're gonna wish you had one. And I said, oh, okay, I think I understand what you're saying. So you're saying the pandemic, much like a car accident, probably caused by a
You know what it is?
Yeah.
Probably caused by a Chinese person? Is that?
So stupid.
All right, I'm gonna watch it now. And I'm noticing it was filmed at Comedy Works in Denver.
Yeah, that's where it was filmed. Yeah. It's so funny. That's why I sent that one to Brian when I was like, you should watch this, and I was like, it's so, because he like sets it up through like this argument on Twitter with this lady where he's like talking about that, and he's like, he gets to the point where he's like, he's trolling her at that point, so he's like, so what you're saying is, because she kept doing it to him, like,
you just really made me nostalgic for my COVID jokes.
Yeah.
I haven't said them in like 2 years. I kind of miss them.
I know, right? It's like that's the thing about this weird winter storm is you almost feel like you're kind of going back. They're like you're stuck indoors. It's cold. All you have is the reefer and the food to comfort you at the end of the day. It's all we really need.
I mean, it is.
There was a funny story that I was reading recently about California. Actually, they urine tests for marijuana are now banned in California for employment, so they're no longer allowed to test you, which I thought was pretty insane.
I could get a sweet job in California.
Can I drive a school bus now? That's the weird thing. See, that's my thing is like, I'm not necessarily saying you should, but at the same time, it's like now you don't, in order to get a school bus job, you're like, oh, I can smoke now.
Can you imagine the right-wing cop in California discovers marijuana?
Oh yeah. You have cops, and I bet you there's probably rules for cops. They probably still, I don't know if they banned it. They probably can't do it.
They can't legally if they banned it.
I wonder if they're like, we're gonna do a urine test for other drugs, and if they saw it, they would just pretend.
They would just be like, yeah, hey, lay off the wacky tobacco.
Yeah. Will you chill? Quit getting high off of the supplies that we keep
and
taking.
The cop's like, hey.
Yeah. It's already legal there, so it's like at this point, it's like, leave them alone. Yeah. I do want to give a quick shout out before I forget to, you're actually on this list, which is pretty funny. Producer credits for the show, Seth Gerbs, Ian Pegg, Matt Adams, and Sean D. You guys are all people that actually helped us get our new, I keep switching to the wrong one. They keep helping, you guys are the ones that helped us get our new soundboard, so I appreciate you guys for throwing that out there. Yeah, because they dropped the price on my soundboard. This is like really riveting podcast behind the scenes music or behind the scenes information. But we were looking for a new mixer for the podcast so that we can control more, including, as you can see with Sean wearing headphones now.
Oh,
We didn't used to wear headphones in this bitch. It was just usually me listening to people go the whole fucking time. Yeah, pretty bad.
I just, you guys help me. I want to help you.
I appreciate it. Honestly, it's nice to get help. Honestly, it's nice to get help from people. Seth Gerb's he threw a lot in, which I really appreciate.
That is awesome.
I appreciate everybody that threw some in. Ian threw some in, and then you, and then Matt Adams, and everybody. So it's been pretty great. And then we started our subs club, which right now we only have 2 members of our subs club, but it's going to grow over time. But we've got 2 guys. Seth Gerb's
I've met that Matt Adams before. I think at Harvest Fest.
Yeah, he was at Harvest Fest. Yeah, one of the I don't even know if he wants me to tell people this, but one of the funniest things in the world happened with him. We're sitting back, and it's funny because it's funny. But we're sitting in the back, and we're all hanging out in the tent over by where Courtney's doing the face paint, because she was doing face painting that night. Remember, we all had dicks on our face.
Yeah, I remember.
It was a lot of good times. It was a lot of good times. I know you remember, but people out there, we had dicks on our face, and so she's back there doing that, and so me, her, Brian was back there. You were back there at one point, but I think at this point you had went somewhere else. There's a lot of people hanging out, and then he was sitting in one of Courtney's chairs, and the fucking thing just folded over like an envelope, and he was sitting next to a tent. So then the whole fucking tent thing goes down. It was like Benny Hill, everything that could happen wrong with. And then he's like, we're like, are you all right? He's like, yeah, I'm all right. And he get up, and then he took off real quick, and then he messaged us later. He was like, did you see me fall? And we're like, yeah, we did, bro. It was wild as hell.
I think if it was during the music, that was probably, I left because I made the mistake of bringing teenagers, and their attention span can be measured in nanoseconds.
Yeah. The internet exists. TikTok exists for them.
Yeah.
Which, go follow our TikTok. Go follow our Facebook. Go follow our YouTube. Go follow all the Instagram and all the pages.
Also follow Sean D on all those places.
Yeah, go follow them all. Especially because we're going to be giving you great nuggets like this. I don't know if you've heard this, but McDonald's fans were stunned after realizing what sweet and sour sauce is made from. Can you guess what it is?
Oh, God, please.
I'm going to ruin it.
This is my sauce.
This is my sauce, too. It didn't ruin it for me. I'm hoping it doesn't ruin it for you. But it's actually made, the main ingredient is apricots. Isn't that weird?
Oh, yeah, that is weird.
It's now you're never...
I just thought it was going to be something gross.
No. But now you're always going to taste it, and you're going to be like, damn it, how did this happen? I found this out, and then I immediately went out and bought a bunch of dried apricots.
So now getting nuggets from McDonald's is like getting a salad.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm eating healthy.
Yeah. I'm just eating the fruit. I'm just dry. It's like a really good fruit for your probiotic. You're dipping a fucking fried piece of chicken in it. Everybody right now is freaking out over Cane's. They're open now.
Yeah, no. So Thursday night, me and Dougie went to the filling station in Lafayette. Lafayette's Thursday night. It's like a every other Thursday open mic.
Oh, yeah.
And on the way, when I got home, my son had gotten off work and got Cane's, and I had some cold Cane's, and it was pretty good.
Yeah.
The toast is good. The tenders are good. And the rest of the stuff you can kind of keep.
Yeah, the fries looked. Every photo I've seen of the fries so far, every photo. Let me. This is a PSA in general. I'm gonna throw this out there for people. Stop posting photos of you getting Cane's. You're actually hurting their business, honestly, because they look horrible.
Right.
The colors are just
Well, and then me and Christina had we got into it a little, not a fight, but a discussion about it last night, because she was like, everybody is posting all these negative things about Cane's, and it's not good. And I don't get that opinion from other people's opinions.
Yeah.
One, human error.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody knows this, but when I don't do comedy, I'm a cook.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
That's what I've always done. I make food. Human error is a thing. For 2, they've been open for 3 days and had a constant line for 3 days. So, I mean...
And how long were they really trained?
Right.
I mean, they've got some training, but these are all new people that they haven't even got the system down probably.
Right. So don't judge them on that.
It's like my argument constantly for people all the time is do you remember what happened with Popeyes? It was there was a lot. It was funny because I was driving by Cane's earlier with my girl. We went to Meyer and we were driving by, and I was like, I said, do you want to look over to your left? I was like, on your right, you see Cane's, super busy, lots of people. On your left, you see Popeyes, the exact same way like a year ago. Now they're empty. Nobody's going there. And a lot of it had to do with they rushed so quickly to get started. They didn't have the proper people and system in place. And the food was really fucking lower than mid. Like, it was not great. And I'm worried they're going to do that to Cane's. The good news is that once Chick-fil-A gets here, all these chicken places are going to be fine.
Well, and that's another comment that, like, I'm not a big fan of. Everybody talks about, oh, now they're going to have 4 chicken places on the same block. They're all different chickens.
Oh, yeah.
Popeyes is kind of like KFC but a Creole style KFC.
Yeah.
So they have different sides and their chicken is made different. Yeah. KFC is a place you get a bucket of fried chicken.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A is a place for people that hate gays.
Oh, man, I can't believe I'm going to have to stop being friends with my gay friends when they get in town. That's the worst part about all this.
I know. It is. Because I like to, like, appear. I like to appear like I like everyone.
Yeah.
But I like Chick-fil-A more than anything.
That's my thing. Like, the best thing about Chick-fil-A is that I could just go like 40 minutes or whatever, 30 minutes to Westfield and get it.
You do it too?
Yeah, and not be.
I'll do it on like a random day.
Just
like,
to go get
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A
Today.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, we're fat guys. Fat guys. That's what we do. We want chicken, we go get it. Well, it's one of those things too. Where it's like it's not that far. It's really not.
No.
Like I'll go that way and then be like, all right, I'll stop by like the last time Shelby and I we went to like Circle Center. I think not Circle Center. We went to the other one.
The good mall, not the fashion mall, which I also like the fashion mall, but
yeah.
I know what exactly.
Keystone Crossing.
Yes.
Keystone. Yeah. The one where there was a shooting, and then that was pretty wild too. I think there was something recently at there that happened, another shooting that happened there too recently. I deleted it off my list here because we're supposed to talk on a different podcast and I never got to it. That's the thing about having topics. I have all these fucking topics saved for the podcast, and like sometimes like none of them pop up. Which here's one that I think is fucking. I don't know if you saw this video, but this is an insane video that I was dying laughing at.
Oh, I've seen it. Hands on your knees.
You and I both like hip hop music, so we know exactly what's going on there. But
that's what I like. Expose your children to things. Everybody's like so up in arms about it. It's like it's music.
Yeah.
You think that children really know what it means, what that song's about? They don't.
That little girl was getting it. That dance
was.
move, dude, she was killing it. And those kids were like loving that song. I think. Have you listened to that album, that Drake album, at all?
Yeah.
That Drake album.
So I know like. I portray the image like I'm a hip hop head. I love hip hop. I hate that he stole the Eminem lyric in that.
Yeah.
So
which one is it?
I
know
bitches, they come, they go.
Yeah.
Saturday through Sunday, Monday, Monday.
I actually like the homages. I think it like to the goats. I think that's good.
I guess I didn't think of it in that context.
It's him being like.
I
this
thought of it
great.
like.
Yeah. I like that. To me, I like those because then you're like, it makes you think about those old songs, and you can listen to those old songs. Because like a lot of times people won't know where the music like came from.
I thought of it in terms of like comedy. So like if I threw a Ralphie May joke in my set, I'm gonna get in trouble for that.
I don't think. Honestly, I think you could get away with it if the way you set it up, like if it's like And then I have. I want to end. Do you guys mind if I end tonight with one of my favorite comics jokes? And like people might be like, yeah, well, hear it. And as long as you're giving credit, I think the problem is Carlos Mencia. Sorry, when people like that will come out and steal a joke, or and people in the comedian community are so like, we're so protective of that because it is.
It's our it's our intellectual property.
Yeah, it's way more, and even like a song, like it's an intellectual property thing. But like once you sing a song, you don't spend. You might write a song. As a person who writes songs, let me say that first. But you might write a song. You might really care about the lyrics. You record the song, the whole thing. You do it all. But then like after you've done the song for like a couple, it's not like it becomes like you don't like you love it, but like. More people I know get like hate their favorites, like their biggest song, than they do like a comedian that hates their biggest bit.
Oh yeah, because they end up doing it over and over and every night for 2 years. And even when they're on 3 albums later, they're like, "Well, I want to hear that song." Yeah. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
and I agree. I don't know. to me, I saw it a different way when you explained it in that way, like it's giving an homage to one of the goats of rap music. Now I kind of dig it.
If you think of it that way, it almost makes it cool that he did it, because you're thinking like, oh, that means he's a huge Eminem fan, which he is. He was on Forever with Eminem, and that was a huge deal with him and Kanye and Wayne, and I think it was Wayne or T.I.
No, it was Lil Wayne.
Was it Wayne?
Yeah.
There was another one they did. That was a different one that they did with like all them with T.I. Do you remember? There was like two of them that came out around the same time. But that song was great, and Drake killed that song. And you know, what is that? I Can Be Your Superman. Then you think about that song, and you're like, hell yeah, I love that song. I'm gonna go back and listen to it. Great. That's how I think of it.
I actually got Slim Shady LP for Christmas.
Oh, on vinyl?
Yeah, on vinyl. Yeah.
Shit. Is it like pressed, or is it like it's like an actual like badass copy of it?
Oh yeah. I just got, like, last year I got into like collecting all my 90s and 2000 hip hop records.
Hell yeah.
So far I've got the complete works of Nelly. I've got
hot shit.
Well, you know.
Yeah. Oh, you got the Nelly tattoo, right? Oh,
St. Louis tattoo.
You can find me, St. Louis.
And I've got I've got some Eminem now. I've got some B.I.G. I've got some DMX.
Yeah.
You know, my heroes.
Yeah, I think the thing is, I don't really listen to a lot of hip hop on vinyl. Like, personally, I haven't ever really done that. It's something I've thought about getting into, especially because a lot of my favorite hip hop artists now are like, they do like live bands. It's not like a beat in a studio, you know what I mean? But the one rap album I have, and it's from my ex, and I just now thought that I have it. I didn't even realize I had it till right now, is Iggy Azalea. So if you want to add that to your collection, I'm just kidding. No, my favorite vinyl that I have, my press vinyl that I have, is Kid A by Radiohead, and I love Radiohead.
That's a great band.
Yeah.
I have a lot of Bayside records too, and I know we're both huge fans of Bayside.
Bayside is shit. Bayside is a cult.
Damn right. But I have like my kids' records in my collection too, and so I have a couple Taylor Swift records. Have a Billie Eilish record, Olivia Rodrigo, and then my older kids, I have Utopia, and I have Juice World, and
so that Utopia record has to fucking kill, because that dude, I can't remember his name, Labyrinth. Holy shit, that song, I love that. You're doing it all for love.
Yeah,
that song is so
good. Yeah, the whole record is good.
Yeah,
I mean, but after Christmas, you know, it's kind of like spring cleaning season. We took down the Christmas tree. I got a new those shoe shelves that you see all the like shoe TikTokers. I have one of those now.
Yeah.
And I got my record player set up with the bookshelf, and I got like all my rap pops on the shelf. I'm trying to I'm trying to make a place to do a podcast called The Funnies, where I have a comedian on, and he does 5 minutes of comedy. But so I'm kind of like setting up an area for that, you know?
Yeah. Be interesting to see that, because it'd be really hard to do 5 minutes to
to no one. Yeah. But I feel like that's the one thing missing from comedy podcasts is like, especially like in the local scene, you meet these guys, like a lot of these guys that listen to your podcast, they know me from your podcast, and they might know that I'm a comedian, but they don't know my comedy material. And so that's what I want to do. I want to give a platform for comedians to get their material out to my fan base. So they can make more fans. That's the whole idea.
It's a good idea. I do have one suggestion though. Instead of making them do it in the room, maybe even like go like let's say like next week you had me on and I'm going to an open mic. Maybe go film their open mic of them doing their set, and then
that
put
way
that
you can have the laughs. With
yeah,
it.
because
I was going to add a laugh track.
But yeah, that I mean, you know, that might feel a little bit empty and hollow to people. But I feel like, you know, it might work. I might be completely wrong. I've never heard of it done before. So the thing about doing new things is it can be really, really great, or it can be like amazing and actually groundbreaking. So I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. I'm just.
What do you think of the name The Funnies?
The Fun. I think it's funny. Yeah. I think it's funny. I think it's The Funnies. I don't think it's bad. I honestly think you have to think, can you live with it? I'm stuck with the Kokomo Press podcast because I have a page called Kokomo Press, and it just works. And eventually, we talked about maybe switching the name up at some point, but I think right now we're just going to keep it where it's at, keep doing what we're doing, and keep having hilarious people like you on, and people who are doing interesting, fun, and creative things, and people who are doing like Chris. We just had Chris Owens on, and Scraps did the Scrappy Awards. I don't know if you caught that.
I did. It was great.
Really cool.
I love everything that Scrap and Jordan do.
I'm gonna throw that up here just so check. Well, working. Yeah,
there it is.
Scrappy Awards. Check out the Scrappy Awards. It's 2023 Scrappy Awards. It's the 18th annual version, second video, because we've done it with the Weekly Plug and Kokomo Press for 2 years. But really good show, really succinct. It wasn't long and drawn out, like 10 minutes maybe a little bit less than 10 minutes. And you go in there and he does like rap song of the year, album of the year, project of the year, rap female, male. He does like best compilation album. And then he my
we
favorite.
should do a comedy one.
I'm down with doing that. The funny thing is I almost talked to Scrap and was like, hey, can we do more than just rap and R&B? I'll help you, me and Maddie and you and people who listen to other stuff. Maybe we could throw together and come up with our favorites in other genres as well. But, hip hop and R&B are like the pop music of the day.
Yeah.
And he had the one category that was like, like kitchen sink, basically. Like, what, but the person that won it was a rapper still. But it was Lil Yachty and his album, Let's Start Here, which a phenomenal album. I don't know if you listen.
I haven't heard it, but
it's like alternative. It's an alternative rock album, but rappers doing it. It's really cool. It's got some Pink Floyd vibes, but not really. Like it's just different.
Well, Lil Wayne tried to do that also.
Yeah, but his was more like he was trying to do like metal or like hardcore rock rap.
Yeah,
and it was more like Kevin Rudolph. Remember when he did that? Let it rock.
Yeah.
It was like that style where it was like because he did Prom Queen and then he did like that rip off of which is another thing, he ripped off like a Green Day song. Do you have the time to listen to? Which I liked it.
Yeah,
it's a cool interpolation. I call it. That's the word for it is interpolation, because we were supposed to get a Kanye album today, because today's the 13th, and he moved it to the 19th, and he's already moved it twice before, and I'm losing my patience because I can only listen to like the lower grade versions on YouTube, and one of the things he's trying to do is he's clearing a bunch of samples because he has an entire interpolation of. The album's called Vultures. He's doing it with Ty Dolla $ign, but he has an entire.
Is North going to be on it?
Yeah, she is. She has that. I don't know if you heard the Miss West.
No.
Yeah, she has that on there. She has a song on there, which is funny because Drake had his son on there.
Yeah.
Adonis. But he has an interpolation of a bunch of different songs in there. Roxanne, you know what, the real life. He does that. And then he has one, the big one is the opening track is Everybody by Backstreet Boys, but sung by Charlie Wilson. And it's really cool, but it's like, Yeezy's back. All right. Boom, boom, boom. It's really cool. I played it for Matty Kroll, and he was like, "Ooh!" I was like, "Yeah, it's so cool." But he basically created the whole song and then does his own rap on it.
So we've talked about this before also, but like I'm an old school. I'm a college dropout and 808 and Heartbreak Kanye fan. The Yeezus and Dawn, I
love them personally.
They weren't my thing. I get why people like them, and then the whole like with the whole Jewish thing and everything else that went down, I kind of like my respect for Kanye went down a little bit. And I get now that he's trying to like get his life back, and that was like kind of the same thing Will Smith was going through. It's like it was more about like, and I've been there, I've been to the spot where it's like you're losing someone you love, and that maybe makes you do some things that you wouldn't normally do.
Yeah. And
I'm willing to forgive and forget. So I think I'm gonna, as soon as it comes out, I'm gonna give it a try.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really good. There's one song that's released 100% through Apple or iTunes. That's where I get my music. I don't know if you do Spotify or Apple or whatever, but with Apple, there's Vultures on there, and Shelby, my fiance, she fucking loves that song. And it's really good. It really is. I think the first two times I listened to it, I was like, I like it. And then it's grown on me really deep because it's a good song. But that whole album is insane. It's got crazy features on it. Freddie Gibbs has a crazy ass song on there. He's got Young Thug on there. I don't know if they're going to clear it, but Nicki Minaj has a song on there with him. But there's talks about she won't clear that verse because it's on a song called New Body that's been like shelved for like 6 years. They're finally trying to put it out, and she's like, I don't know if I'm not that person anymore, which annoys me because I'm like this. it's all over TikTok already because it's so good. You know, it's about basically it's a whole song about like you didn't have sex with me because I have a new body because I got a BBL or I got new tits. So now you're not
beautiful.
It's a whole new body. So you know, it's a perfect TikTok song for these people.
That made me chuckle because Hypocrisy put out a post with Gypsy Rose, and I was like, "Talk to me when she gets a BBL."
Yeah, I saw that. I was dying laughing at that. Yeah, she's. I mean, she's close. Did you see her little? She's driving me crazy. I'm not a huge fan.
My stepdaughter and my fiance are all about the Gypsy Rose stuff, and I look. I felt for her when I watched this because they made me watch the Hulu show about
the Joey King one with Patricia Arquette. Yeah.
But it's just, I mean, I don't know why we're celebrating her.
Yeah,
I don't get that part of it.
Because women will take another woman who something traumatic happens to, they will take their experiences and they will extract them, connect them to that person, and then for some reason they become like
a superhero.
It's almost like their codependency. It's like a codependency. It's the same with like Taylor Swift fans or like Nicki Minaj fans. Or, you know, they have different names for all these. Or Cardi B. Anybody, any big female that does anything, women will fucking attach themselves, and us men do it too. We have certain artists we like, but I feel like we do it in a different way. We're not so codependent about it. It's like if Kanye doesn't put out the album, I'm pissed about it. I'm like, I want the new album because I want to listen to music, not because Kanye is, oh my god, if he does something wrong, I won't run away from him. Just like if he does something right, I'm not like, yeah, it's Kanye. I would have never voted for him for president other than like as a joke,
right?
Whereas if Taylor Swift was running for president, there's a shit ton of Swifties that will fucking go out there and they will vote for her because they're like, she's so smart, she just knows things, she just knows. And I just don't have that personality at all.
No,
I just can't.
There's nobody that I like that much. I mean, you know, my comedians that I like them, but I don't follow their ideologies. I like them for their jokes.
You're not going to vote for Bert Kreischer for president.
Hell no.
Be the exact opposite. Which, I mean, I don't know if you saw the shit that Segura's getting into. The internet's fucking coming after him.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love his sense of humor.
You do?
Did you see?
I think it's funny.
Did you see the clip about the girl that's getting all like? She just lives a normal life. She like is one of those people that posts TikToks of like just the making of the coffee and you never see her. Now she's posting things about like her day and stuff like that, and the comments are all just hate.
Is it?
Like one of the comments is actually hate from Australia.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. I did see. I saw the Tom do that, and they talked about that. That was so funny. Yeah, that clip was funny. He was laughing at it, and he actually like that was. And then but like he's getting shit because of the poorest comment and things that he's done, like the airline. He did the Delta airline fight and shit. Or Delta. And I mean the internet's kind of turning on him. And then
he has a weird sense of humor in the Garth Brooks thing. I mean that I've seen somebody else talking about the Garth Brooks thing now, like Garth Brooks might be it was on a conspiracy theory TikTok. And I'm like, yeah, Kokomo Press gets them again.
Yeah, right. It's like satire gets people so quick. People don't understand jokes at all. And we deal with that all the time, whether it's our jokes about we have a joke right now talking about El Oreos that I think Brian wrote a joke about El Oreos about a girl named Lisa Lucas who went to El Oreos and broke the record for drinking 15 margaritas. And if you read the comments, it's absolutely unhinged. You know, it's just people being like, I'm pretty sure that's illegal. Or oh, that's all you can do. I could do 20. And it's just like, come on, you guys.
But then every 4 comments, there's one that's like, guys, I think this is a joke.
Guys, this is a joke, please. Like, it starts to get out of hand. Somebody's like, somebody should call the health and authorities on them. They're like, it's a satire piece. Chill the fuck out, which is how I feel all the time. I'm like, chill, y'all, we're just playing. It literally says it in the description. That's a satire page,
right? I just think people don't like that's. To me, that's the problem with our society right now is nobody does the research.
Yeah.
Everybody's just like, click. Oh, I saw this one thing where they used AI to make this thing. You know, Joe Rogan said the N-word.
Yeah.
No. That's just somebody used AI to make Joe Rogan say that.
Yeah, but recently he did say it a long time ago, but it was more like him like repeating a quote or people can't help it, man. They.
Oh, I was just making it like a nonsensical thing.
Yeah. Well, he did.
I'm sure he did.
Well, he got in trouble actually. I mean, the things like that though, like the most recent one I saw. I don't know if you've seen these before, but I was on like Instagram, I think it was, And I used to have like a fitness Instagram where I was like trying to lose weight, like watch my weight loss thing. So I went on there because there was like a notification. I was like, fuck it, I gotta get this off here. It drives me crazy. So I went on there, and while I was on there, it was like, hey, it's me, Kelly Clarkson. Let me tell you the story about how and it was like somebody had went on AI, used her voice, made a whole fake commercial, like her talking, and took like videos of her talking almost. And it's not in sync at all, and it's showing like video, but like they're using her likeness to sell a fucking like
product,
product. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's the whole thing about AI that people didn't realize is like it's gonna be used. This is the world that we live in, that people are gonna do some shisty things.
Yeah, quick.
And people are smart, and they're gonna use these tools that we have now to do some shisty things
every time, dude. They can't help it. Yeah, I think AI is inevitable. Obviously, we know there's not really much we can do to stop it, but at the same time, like, we've got to be aware as like a society that it exists and understand that not everything you see on the internet is real. And it starts with our parents, because they spent their whole life like, no, don't believe everything you hear. And now they're like on the internet like, yes, this is true.
Oh my God.
Did you hear this?
There's an Arctic wall, and there's places behind it that we're not allowed to go to. 57 countries are in the treaty. And then I saw one the other day that's like, you know that NASA is just, it was off that movie, that Netflix movie, and it was the one kid's wearing a shirt that says obey, and the other is saying NASA, and they're like, oh yeah, that's why they say T-, because you're supposed to add that to NASA to make Satan.
Oh my God. God. People are able to come up with so many different things. It's nice to know that whoever you're talking about in your family is also on the same Substack as my mom. So that's pretty cool that they're like probably reading the same propaganda. My mom, it's all like, she was like the COVID expert during COVID. And I'm like, you are? I didn't know you were a doctor. And it's like, she could have been right about some shit. And I mean, I could have been right about some shit. And at the same time, we could have coexisted. But like, it was like at the time she was like, rah! And I was like, chill.
Well, that's what everybody was at home for so long. That's what started all the outrage. Everybody had so much time to care about these trivial things that they were like, I'm going to be mad about this. I'm going to love it. I'm going to hate it.
Oh, shit. People can't help it. They have to have a team. It's like, it all comes back to that tribalism argument that you see on every podcast where, I mean, I know Rogan, for one of the people that always talks about people are so tribal, and it's like absolutely 100%. And then, you know, then there's Thailand. I don't know if did you see this? I have this hilarious video outside of Thailand. Hopefully it plays on here because I keep having issues with my videos popping up, but it's plus size BB fat.
Oh,
just fat girls.
oh.
I don't even care about the music. I just want the fucking video to act. But there's a place called Fatty Fat Girl.
Fatty Fat Girls.
One called Love Calories. There's one called Thigh Fat. There's one that's called The Fat Cat. And Fatty Fat Girl and Love Cat. So it's like these whole ass fucking videos of like they don't know English very well, so they just like throw different words that like, this is for fat girls. Let's just throw fat on there. It's like we're all taking things so seriously. Meanwhile, in Thailand, they're like, "Please buy plus size clothes, anything."
You couldn't do that in America. You'd be so canceled. Body positivity.
No, they just name it after a girl. Like that's why like all the big girl brands in America are all named after a big woman. She was like, "Hi, my name's Elaine Bryant." You know what I mean? And then there was one over. I can't remember the name. The one that used to be in the plaza over by it was also like just a woman's name.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird to me that's what they name them. Like, I guess we have some stuff like that, Tommy Bahama maybe, and like Calvin Klein, but those are like brands. They're not like a big, and they're not for big people. They're for everybody. For us, we have like just big and tall. That's, I mean, actually for men,
it's DXL.
Yeah. For men, it's pretty on the nose. It's kind of like the Thailand thing. It's like XL dudes.
I mean, people are allowed to be meaner to men. That's that's the way our society works.
Yeah. Well, you guys, it's a patriarchy, and you guys are in charge. You guys are at the top, so he can be mean to you. And I'm like, yeah, go ahead. Whatever. We don't care. We can take it. We're not the type that are going to throw a fucking fit about it. And it doesn't matter. We're all going to be women before too long anyway, according to this. Japanese researchers turned male catfish female with soy compounds in shocking 2023 finding. And you know who was right the whole time? they're putting chemicals in the water to make the freaking frogs gay. That's what happened here. It's literally the same thing, man. So it makes you wonder, because we have a whole bunch of gender stuff going on that we didn't used to, and people are like, well, now it's just more acceptable. And I'm like, or is it the soy compounds?
I mean, it could be. So it's McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I love the gays.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Let's cut off your dick.
That's better.
No, I like the I love gays too. Have it your way. I love the gays. That BK. All the different ones. And then they have the other thing is the microplastics. Like, that's a huge thing that I guess is affecting like everything from fertility to males to everything. Like, apparently our testosterone can be measured from our taint. Have you heard that?
No.
That's a crazy thing. Like, the distance from your balls to your butthole is, they can tell from the distance from your balls to your butthole how much testosterone your body is producing, because apparently in the womb microplastics can disrupt like the production.
I'm a Christian and I don't believe in science.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
Well, if I have, well, at least you'll have chicken soon. You'll have that to go. Did you see my Raising Cane's joke? I'm like,
yes.
Cain and Abel. I was like, I was trying to like find a way to word that, because I had the joke like Cain and Abel, like, oh, they're Abel, they're Cain. I was like, how the fuck do I word this to make that? Because I know it's funny. You know, like when you have an idea where you're like, as a comedian, you know.
Oh, yeah. There was jokes like, remember, like we first met, I was talking about, I want to write an R. Kelly joke so bad. And like a year later, I finally had this R. Kelly joke I was proud of. And now I don't really do it anymore because I feel like it's past its prime. Like, bringing up the R. Kelly thing is, you know,
it's funny because a lot of like big comedians have recently done some R. Kelly bits, including like Cummings. Whitney Cummings did a huge R. Kelly bit. That special was horrible. It was on Showtime, I think, or HBO Max or something. I watched that special from her, and the whole time I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. But then I saw her do like a different thing on about like the comedy. I think it's like the history of the Comedy Cellar.
History of the Comedy Store on Showtime. It's fantastic.
Oh no, not that one. That one's good too. But they did one where it was like maybe it was the Laugh Factory in like
the
New
Laugh
York.
House. The Laugh House in LA.
Yeah. They did one. I think the one I'm talking about was maybe it's in LA. I can't remember. But there was like a bunch of different comedians were going.
Yeah, I saw it. Bert was on it.
Yeah. She was on that one, and she was so funny, dude.
Yeah.
That was the funniest I've ever seen her outside of a
Personally,
podcast.
that's how I feel about her. She's hit and miss. Like, I'll see her one time and she's great. I'll see her another time she's not so great. I used to listen to her podcast and I felt the same about that. Sometimes it was fantastic. Like one episode she had a vet on there. Like, I get that you love dogs and that's great. I love dogs too, but if I wanted to listen to a vet talk for 2 hours, I'm sure I could find a veterinarian.
I do want to throw this out there though. We're gonna wrap this up in a few minutes. We're getting closer and closer to like an hour and a half. But have you checked out Tasha's new show?
Yes, and I love it. I mean,
it's
I don't
weird,
know
right?
if I've ever told you this, but me and Daniel Tosh went to the same high school in Florida.
Oh, shit.
He's 10 years older than me, but we did go to the same high school, so I've always been a huge Daniel Tosh fan.
I watched that would make sense because you're like, you have like, there's a degree of like a really closeness and separation because you're like, that guy's right. My mom almost went to high school with Prince, and she like loves Prince because of that. I'm like, but at least she went to the same high school. But I know I watched that the first like couple episodes. I watched a few of the episodes because he's not sitting down with comedians. He's not sitting down with like celebrities. He's sitting down with like random people. And what you just said a minute ago about like talking to the vet, like that seems so insane. I know that she's like, it's like inside baseball for her. But he had on like his like therapist or like his baby doctor. That was the one that was insane. The doctor that delivered his kids, and he's just talking to him. He had on a guy who's an athlete who like has no legs. Yeah,
there's your reason I watch comedy podcasts, and it's because I love comedians. So I go on and I see comedians talking to other comedians, and they're talking about, you know, the inside baseball of comedy or funny stories that they don't happen to have a joke for yet. And that's what I love about it. So when you see something like that, like I love Daniel Tosh and I like it because I've missed him.
Yeah.
But there is that where I'm like,
I'm not going to listen to his fitness guy talk for hours.
Right.
The funny thing is that Daniel Tosh is funny enough to do it on his own. So he makes it funny regardless.
And I believe personally that I'm a lot like him in my comedy where my stuff is a lot of, am I gay? Am I not gay? I'm definitely not gay, but I like to like poke at it because I have that effeminate voice. And I've always been like, people have always questioned my sexuality because of my voice. So I love doing.
Well, after the show, we're going to check your taint to make sure you have enough testosterone.
I told you I don't believe in
I don't believe in science. I don't believe in science. No, there's that, and the one thing I will say about podcasts, and you talked a lot about like the base, like inside baseball on like comedy, and you get a lot of that. And the Tosh, it's cool just to have him back because he's so funny. Tosh Point was one of the funniest shows on TV. Just a fact. It like kept Comedy Central afloat for so long. But like one thing that I've been getting into lately, which is random as hell, is like athlete podcasts. Because like you like sports.
Oh, I'm a huge sports guy.
Yeah, and I'm like a huge sports guy, and like that's another like level that we never got to, like we would see like behind the scenes or like 30 for 30s or something. We never get to hear like their opinions. And there was a guy, he went to school in Indianapolis, and then Jeff Teague, Jeff Teague? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he played for the Pacers for a while, but he has a podcast. I think it's called Club 540 or something like that, or 54 or something like that. And some of the stories that he tells in there are so good. Paul George has a podcast that's really good. The JJ Redick does a big one. And
I've seen that one, and I've seen the one with they have one on Showtime that's like Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. I've seen that one. Yeah. And then the Kelsey brothers, I've seen their podcast a couple times.
Yeah, football. Yeah. And then I saw there's one with there's a really good one with like Richard Jefferson and somebody else too. But like it's crazy how now you can literally go listen to your favorite athletes, and some of them are really fucking smart and entertaining. Like Club Shay Shay he's an old, Shannon Sharp. He played for the Denver Broncos, won some Super Bowls with Elway, and then he does another show with Chad Ochocinco where they do one, and that's where Katt Williams got his thing. So it's really great that people who maybe before would like do. They have two shots. They either become like a pro athlete for as long as they can, then hopefully get on a pro athlete show and talk more about sports. Or now they can have another avenue where they can start a podcast and they can talk about sports, but they can talk about anything.
I mean, look at the career Pat McAfee made off his podcast.
And he's one of the pioneers. He turned a podcast into a TV show, even though he's getting shit for the Aaron Rodgers stuff right now.
Well, he's on the College Game Day.
Yeah.
And he's in the WWE.
Yeah.
Like Pat McAfee, he was a punter who made a career off of a podcast.
He created his own lane in entertainment, which is insane. Yeah. And that's why I hope for all of us, and that's one of the things about the Kokomo Press that a lot of people don't know. And you know it because you're one of the few people that know what we do, but a lot of people don't know about us is that we're a comedy page, we post like funny stories, blah blah blah, but the main thing that we try to do, especially with this podcast, is highlight talented individuals such as yourself who maybe don't have that outlet yet that deserve one. And like I said, in the future, when you get the funnies going or you get anything going, obviously you're going to be welcome back here anytime you want.
Oh, of course. I love coming here. I love doing the podcast. I love doing the comedy shows with you. I love doing the Christmas special. We're already writing a sketch. Me and Brian are writing a sketch for next year.
I'm excited.
So I'm not going to give you any information on it, but it's coming.
Yeah, all over me. That's what I'm saying. It's coming all over you soon. No, it's great. Thank you for coming to the show again, Sean. I appreciate you doing the show. I mean, it's not a huge panel, but I think with you and me, we can fill the space because you and I, we both love this. I mean, you love podcasting as much as
I love. I get in trouble at my house because that's what I want to watch. I would rather. My fiance's into crime dramas, and I like them, but I would rather watch a podcast. And now that I have this job that takes a lot of my time, and then I'm back doing comedy. I'm already like getting behind on certain shows, and I'm like, I want to see what happened on Your Mom's House. I want to see what happened on Bert. I want to see what happened on Two Bears, One Cave and Kill Tony and it, you put that all together, that's like 15 hours a week of podcasts that I watch.
Yeah, you went from like having a little bit more ear time to having like very little ear time, and it's rough. Well, I'm happy I was able to pull you away from catching up on all your stuff to just come be on a podcast and do all this, because there's going to be so much more happening with the Kokomo Press in 2024, but especially with Sean D. Sean D is funny on everything. Check him out.
Everything. Check me out there. And also, come see me at the mics. Open mics everywhere. I hope to be getting back into doing some shows coming up. Just hit me up, y'all. I'm always around.
Sean D is funny. Go check him out now. This has been the Kokomo Press Podcast. I'm Jordan Granger.
I'm Sean D, guys.
Thank you guys for hanging out. We'll see you soon. Hey, Hey, you just listened to the Kokomo Press Podcast. We thank you for tuning in. We hope you had a great time. If you did, go ahead and like us, subscribe to us, hit that notification bell, do all the things that help us get seen. Go find us over on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok. Like us, follow us there. And if you want to really, really help us out, we now have a new thing called Facebook subscriptions. It's only $4.99 a month, and it helps us build out even more than what we have already. Helps us get more equipment, helps us put money into shows, because we give you comedy shows. We give you guys skits. We give you guys podcasts. We give you guys jokes. And if you want to be a part of a group of people that actually get to talk to us and tell us your input first and get to directly speak to us, and maybe even, help us write some of these jokes, you can be a part of the group. Join that subscriber base. It's only $4.99 a month, and it's not a lot, but it helps us out tremendously, and it's going to give you an opportunity to maybe win some merch here and there. We're going to do a lot of fun things with our subscribers, so please check us out everywhere you can, and if you want to, subscribe to our page. Thanks for listening to this podcast. We love you. Thank you. 2 kisses.